this is where the YouTube video will start. So we're in Rhino, and you have to make sure everything is in organized layers. So I have a layer set up that's like basically a box around the scene so that I can control the lighting the best I want. And then I have a layer for the wall, I have a layer for the stair, and I have a layer for the ground. So we're gonna go into Rhino, and we're gonna type Datasmith direct link sync, which I have also put in the chat. And it's really important that while you're doing that, you have Twinmotion open at the same time. This command is basically just communicating everything Twinmotion needs to know from Rhino. So we're gonna hit enter on that. And it's nice to have this bar open. The way you can get that bar is if my thing, how do I get this thing to go away?
You can move it.
Okay. Sure. You go to show, you right click on the toolbar bar and do show toolbar. You scroll down to Datasmith, and then you just make sure that's checked. It's like after all of the main Rhino ones. You just make sure that's checked, and then that'll pop up. That way, you can update anything you do in Rhino to Twinmotion live just by hitting the synchronize button. So just make sure you've typed Datasmith direct link sync and hit enter. And we're gonna go over to Twinmotion now. And I'm gonna delete this because you guys probably, I don't know how many of you saw me do that. But basically, deleting that. You're gonna go to the import button and then hit the plus sign. And you're gonna go up to direct link. And on the, you're gonna get those options to open. And there are a bunch of different ways it can collapse, but I would suggest doing keep hierarchy. Collapsing by the material will collapse everything that's the same material in Rhino to the same layer in Twinmotion. So that could be helpful. Or collapsing all is just putting everything on one layer, which I really don't recommend, especially for what we're doing here. So we're gonna do keep hierarchy and import. So now our model is there, and let's just practice moving around in this thing. So the numbers on your keypad control how fast or slow you can move around. And it's numbers 1 through 6. So 6 being super fast and 1 being super slow. So I think that I'm gonna get close to the model. 4 is the most comfortable for me, but if you really want to zoom in on a detail, 1's fine, but that's just so slow. And then 6 is just like out of control. The way you move around is, if you're a gamer, it's very familiar. It's WASD. So W is forward. I'm gonna go on 3. W is forward. S is backward. D is right. And then A is left. And then E is down. And Q is up. So once again, you adjust the speed in which you move with the numbers 1 through 6. So if I want to move a little faster, I'll type 4, and then I'll hit W to go forward, S to go back, D to go right, A to go left, E to go down, and Q to go up. And then you can pan around by right-clicking your mouse. Or you can, like, whatever this movement is, by left-clicking your mouse. Does that make sense to everyone? Is everyone on the same page? Yes, I'm going to repeat it one more time. So, to adjust the speed in which you're moving, it's the numbers 1 through 6 on your keypad. 6 being super fast and 1 being super slow. So if I want to go medium speed, I'll hit 3, and then I'll do W to go forward, S to go backward, A to go left, D to go right, E to go down, and Q to go up. This information is also on the cheat sheet that I uploaded on Carmen. It's a little bit of an adjustment to get used to, but once you get used to it, it's really natural. And I think it's really nice that you can adjust how fast you can move around it. And I think panning around your model is a lot easier in Twinmotion than it is in Rhino. So we have our model. And as you can see, the sun is like really wacky in mine. So what you do is you click the eyeball and you go to this sun. And I'm just gonna change, you just scroll it to change the time of day. I'm gonna change the time of day just so that it's not as washed out on my screen. Twinmotion's like a little harder to control when it comes to lighting, but in my opinion, it renders things a lot better. Let me move you guys over here. Okay. So let's explore some of the things that Twinmotion can do. You don't have to do the same thing as me in this. You can kind of like play around for this part. But there's this library over on the left. And materials, you can just choose from this big library and it's super nice. So I'm gonna choose, let's pick something for our walls. So for you guys, we're still gonna want these to be very like unrealistic for sure. But definitely have fun with it. But yeah, for this, you do not have to create your own textures or anything like that. So I'm gonna choose this like grid one for my walls, and you just click and drag that over. And then if I click on it and want to edit it, I would go down to materials, and I have this carpet. Right here. There we go. Sorry, I'm used to working in 2022, so I'm getting used to 2023. So we have the like way you can edit it over here. And basically it's way easier to edit than in Rhino because it's pretty intuitive. Like you can just scale it however you want and it scales it proportionally. You can rotate it. You can make it less rough or more rough. Not gonna mess with those. You can change the color, so you can make it like, that's basically just tinting it, putting a tint over it. And you can see it like live updates in the back. So I'll change it to like this pink. Yeah, so it's pretty simple, like editing it. Hello. Anyways. And then let's go back to materials and kind of mess around with some other stuff. So I've noticed a lot of you have been using Chrome. We have tons of Chromes over here you can choose from. So I'm gonna do like this matte Chrome and I'll just put it on the stairs. And then over here, again, I can edit it. You can make it a little grungier, make it luminosity is like how much light it's accepting. Same thing with like scale. Chrome is a little less noticeable when you scale it. And then the metalness. So you can make it like super flat or you can make it super shiny. And then let's just pick out something for our wall. And let's have fun with it. So we have neons. I'm gonna make my wall back here a police beacon. Because that's just fun. Yeah. So does that make sense to everyone? You really can just play around with that. I think it's super fun to do. with the police beacon, I'm trying to see if I can like you can make it super glowy too. I was trying to see if I could slow it down. It looks like it's just is what it is. So for the purpose of the tutorial, I'm going to change it to something, but it's just like have fun with it. I'm gonna watch super fun videos, like show your personality, but still keep that the word, whatever word you chose. So I'm gonna do these little smiles. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do the same grid and scale it. Oh, period. It looks bad. Okay. So we've got our scene set up. You can also move things. If you haven't noticed that I've done that accidentally like a bunch already. And that won't update in your Rhino. So let's say I move this wall and I'm like, oh shoot, I don't remember where it goes exactly. You go back to Rhino, synchronize. And then, okay, well, period. It's not working. Whatever. But it's supposed to work like that. But it's fine. You guys have simple enough scenes where you can kind of remember where things go. Yeah. So with the camera in Twinmotion, you just like I would move super slow, like level 2, and just get it set up about where your camera is set up in Rhino. So like that probably. And that's your video will just be facing this direction the whole time. So then we can go to library and we can start populating it. And what's nice about this is it's the same exact library as Cosmos. So you really can put in your same stuff if that's what you want. So I'm just gonna put this chair and it like snaps to whatever surface you put it on. So put like chair on the wall and click on that. Let's see if we can. What's unfortunate about this though is that you cannot change the color. So for this, we're not going to make you like worry about that. But maybe just try to pick objects that don't look as realistic, you know what I mean? If it has this download button, this arrow, downward arrow, just means you need to download it. It's super quick to do, but I'm just gonna add some things in real quick. And you guys can as well. So let's add a tree over here. And it's super easy to populate. Like you can make realistic renders in Twinmotion so quickly. Right now, I'm just giving you a tutorial for this assignment, but I can definitely show you guys how to do like more advanced stuff if that's what you want in the future, because I've used this software for my renderings a lot. Yeah, so your objects won't import from Rhino, I don't think. But it's, as you can see, it's like super easy to populate. So like you put puddle down and then let's say let's say my word is like enchanting, right? So far, this isn't too enchanting. So I'm going to go to this particle section and I'm going to add some ground fog. And this just shows the center of the ground fog. So I'm going to put it like right here. And as you can see, it's populating my scene with like a bit of fog. So if you want to edit that, you can click that. And if nothing shows up for it, that just means you can't edit it, basically. And you can also, like, I think Twinmotion's the best software for this kind of thing. You can add water as well. So like if I want a stream of water falling from the ceiling, I can add that and okay, well, sometimes it glitches, but there we go. You can add water in there. You can add like different color smoke. So fun. And yeah, you can just do it like everywhere if you really want to go crazy on it. And then over here is just like all your different layers and they're already named for you. So if you don't like that, you can just delete it. So then you can also add people. So you can go to characters and they automatically can animate your people. So I'm going to take Alice right here. Alice, please go away. Alice. I don't know why. She's like being crazy. Okay. So I'm going to click on Alice and I'm going to move her over here. I'm going to pose her. She's slaying. And I'm going to go down to where I can edit Alice. And you can choose her outfit color in this cloth color section. So I think she looks great in this like orange sweater. And then right now she's in the idle position. You can have her walking, you can have her dancing. Oh, wow. And then she can do like different dances too. Like she's getting into it. Yeah, she's slaying. You can also lie down. Oh, Alice. There, that's better. Let's have her sit under this tree. But yeah. She's relaxing. She's enchanted. She's iconic. Oh, Alice. Okay. I don't know how to, there we go. So we have our scene pretty much ready to go. You can obviously populate this like a lot. There are obviously a lot of things that I haven't even shown you yet, like lights. If you want like a spotlight on Alice, that's definitely possible. Just put a spotlight on her and let's go. Now here's the part that you need for sure for your assignment. We're going to go to tools. We're going to go to animators. So first I'm going to show you how to use the rotators. So these are just like things that you can just put in that rotate. We don't want that for this assignment. We want you to actually use the rotator. So I'm going to click on it and I'm just going to place it anywhere in the scene for now. And then I'm going to go up here and click that little move button just to make sure that I don't accidentally put more rotators in. And then I'm going to go down, I'm going to click on this rotator. And then there are these buttons over here. One that says object link, one that says object unlink, and one that says animator axis. So I'm going to click on object link. And now your mouse is this thing. You're going to click on whatever object you want to rotate. So I want this back wall to rotate. And it's going crazy right now, but we can edit this. So first I'm going to click on this just to make sure I don't link anything else. And then you can choose the angle. So negative would be counterclockwise and positive would be clockwise. So we're just going to have her rotate a little bit. And then you can choose which axis it rotates on. So right now it's rotating on the Z axis, but if you want it to open like that, it can be on the Y, or if you want it to fall down, it can be on the X. And obviously right now it's going pretty fast. So you just scroll down and we can really lower this speed. to where it's just falling like that. And if you want it to have like a 2-second delay or whatever, or even just a 1-second delay, so that your video is like still and then the thing rotates, you can definitely do that with this right here. And then you can also play with like how many times it rotates. So right now I have it on a loop where it just keeps going over and over again. You can have it on ping pong, which that is where it does it once and then it comes back up in reverse. And then, or you can just have it fall one time and that's it. And then it just stops. So I'm gonna do ping pong because I think that will make the rotating the smoothest. But let's say we don't want this wall to move anymore. That's where this object unlink comes into play. So you do object unlink and click that. And then you just click on your wall and your wall goes back to normal. And then you can link this to another part of your building if you want. And that is how we use the rotator. So if you've played around with the rotator and you decide, nah, I don't want to do that, you can just delete it and you're ready to go. So the other kind of animation is called translators. Translation means you could move up, down, left, right. So once again, they have some of these things already for you. We're not going to use those. We're going to use the translator. So we're going to click and drag it anywhere on our scene again. And then we're going to click off just to make sure we don't add any more. Going to make sure we're clicked on it in our layers. And it works in the same way as the rotator. So let's say now we want our stairs to move. And the stairs are all on different layers. So you can just have one stair move, or you can keep linking them together like that. And the difference with the translator is you can actually choose the distance that it goes rather than the angle with the rotation. So right now, everything's in meters, by the way. You can play around with that. So obviously negative, it's going to go down. So you could put it like underneath your floor, or you can make it like go all the way through the ceiling. And it's going pretty slow right now, so we can really up that speed if that's what you want to do. And then if you put it on ping pong, it'll theoretically come back to you. I just probably have the distance too high. Oh. There we go. She's come back to us now. And then the same thing with the axes. Let's get her to get back to Earth here. Yeah, so it can move in that direction or side to side. It's really up to you. But if you decide that you don't want that, we're just going to do unlink. And then you're ready to go. But I'm going to keep it because I'm going to show you now. So I'm going to have this move left to right at that distance. I'm going to ping pong it. You guys don't have to do the same thing as me. You can play around with whatever you want to do for this next part, but make sure you have an animation set in place. I'll give you like a couple minutes to get that going. But just make sure you have an animation set in place for this next part of the tutorial. Are there any questions at this time? If so, unmute or put it in the chat, but you can so we have everything set up, ready to go. Alice is slaying. We're gonna make that tree a little bigger. Let's make sure our angle is set up nice and try to replicate what we have in Rhino to the best of our ability. So I think that's pretty good. Mm, okay. So now I'm gonna, oh yeah, right here. We're gonna go down to this media button and you have a bunch of different options. So here you can just take an image that would be like a still render. You can do just a video, which is what we'll be doing. You can do a panoramic. I haven't figured that out, but I think it's best compatible with like a VR headset, which Twinmotion can set up. So if you want to get really fancy at one of your reviews, you can set a panorama up, bring a VR headset, put it on the reviewer, and be like, hey, you can like walk around my building, which I've seen people do, and it's really cool. A presentation is just like a combination of all three of those other things. And then I don't know what this thing is. Let's see. A phasing group. So I'm assuming that, yeah, is what it says it is. So we're going to go to video. And it says click here to create your first video. So we're going to click here. Add video. And we can kind of play around with the lighting. Play around with the exposure a little, whatever mood you want. We can fix the camera to be closer or further away. The render can be like lighter shadows, darker shadows. Yeah, you can just kind of play around with that. You can do effects, so like can make it super contrasted or super saturated, depending on what your mood is, your word. You can also do different filters. So some of them will work a lot better than others. And I only really recommend this if it really helps the strength of whatever word you chose. Otherwise, I mean, I think that's kind of fine. Some of them are going to work better than others, but we're going to do none. You can also make it all one color by doing like a clay render. So that's where if you want it to be that monochromatic vibe, you can do that and you can just change it all to one. But we're not going to do that because I set up this scene. So we have that video and I'm going to make it 5 seconds long. So we're going to just type 5 right there. And that's literally it for this assignment. Like, that's all you have to do. And then you would just hit export and you would choose, so you would add your video. It like recognizes what things you've rendered in here. So if I had taken an image, it would have the plus sign like button active, but it knows we have this video. So we just select that. And then you like choose the frame rate and everything. You would want to do it in an MP4 because that means video. And then you just hit start export and it will just export that full video. I'm not going to do that for the purpose of this video right now. But it basically just ends up in like your pictures folder or wherever you specify for the video to go. So for this assignment, that is all you need to do because we don't want the camera to move at all. But let's say you're doing this for studio. You would go to this video section, click on your active video. So let's say you want the video to start staring like this, and then you want it to go all the way, like pan in. You would literally just move forward in your thing, however far you want, and hit this plus sign. And Twinmotion will bridge that gap for you. So let's see here. We would go to export. It's still video 1. I just made some changes to it. Frame rate, whatever. I'm gonna start export now just so you guys can see. I'm just gonna put it on my desktop. And let's see how long it takes to compute that. Might take a little longer since you guys are here, but yeah, it's typically super quick, especially with what you guys are doing where you're not even moving the camera. Like it'll take 1 minute to render. So it's a really simple and intuitive software. And especially if you ever design something in the future where an object in your building moves, I think it's really great. So we're just gonna wait for this to export and then I can play it for you guys just to kind of show you what it does when you do have those 2 frames like that. But it basically is just a very smart software, so it kind of just, so it's right here. There. So it even like animates Alice a little bit. If you don't want your person to move in there, it's really easy. You can just delete Alice, go to characters, and just go to cutouts. And these people like won't move at all. They're not animated. Which I like. Personally, a lot of the professors at Knowlton don't really like these like super realistic people. Because it does just have that like uncanny valley thing, right? Where it's like realistic, but not really. So it just depends on who you have, but there are tons of different options for that. Yeah, so do we have any questions or anything else that you guys would want me to like run over again, or just like, yeah, any questions even about just how to use the software, not specifically just like to this assignment? If you don't have any specific questions, then that was all I had for you. So we can just continue with the rest of lab being like a work day, if that works for you guys. Also, any feedback on if this format of tutorial works, let me know. But you guys can leave.